Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Lunacy of Middle Age with your friends Pete
and Alex,
the podcast where we discuss the absurdity of life past 40. Nothing will be off limits, so buckle up and get ready to laugh with
and at us
as we talk about life in a raw and unfiltered way. Welcome back to another episode of The Lunacy of Middle Age with your friends Pete and Alex. Today, I think Alex has a pretty good topic that we want to talk about. And what is that topic?
Well, first of all, can we address the fact that you don't sound so good?
I'm just getting over a little bit of the
COVID?
A little seasonal flu.
Okay. Well, I'll try to bear with your nasally voice today. What we want to talk about today is how we feel out of touch with all things super current, maybe. I mean, we're not like in the dark ages or anything like that, but we don't feel as though we are as knowledgeable about some of the stuff that goes on as far as social media is concerned, some of the stuff that our kids do, and even with actors and actresses. Like we've watched some movies this weekend, and they were older movies, and we were kind of marveling at how much time has passed since those movies came out. And it's a little disheartening, honestly.
It's unbelievable that some of those movies that we were watching that came out in 2000 are 22 years old.
I know, and we even watched some movies that were older, like from the 1980s.
That's ridiculous.
We're going way back. It is kind of ridiculous. How has time passed so quickly?
I don't know. I am feeling like my parents now, but I don't feel like I should be my parents. But I'm feeling more and more like my parents, where you hear the kids talk about different. I don't even know if they're actors and actresses anymore, because it's like TikTok and YouTube stars that I don't know their names, but I feel like I should.
Well, when you say you're starting to feel like your parents, I don't think you mean you feel like your parents do now, because our parents have entered a different stage of life. What you mean is you kind of feel the way your parents did when you were a kid. Like, you used to look at them and think, man, they're so old. They don't even know anything that's going on right now. They're out of touch. And that's what it comes back to.
Like, even when we used to talk about movies to my dad and be like, oh, yeah, Mel Gibson. Who's that? Mel Gibson. Who's Mel Gibson?
Who's Tom Cruise?
It's unbelievable. But now that's me.
Well, yeah, there are definitely some current actors and actresses that the kids could talk about that I wouldn't even know their names. And it does make me feel old. I feel sad about it.
But it's everything. Everything makes me feel out of touch. Who left the goddamn lights on?
Well, I was going to say there are a couple things we wanted to talk about related to things that our kids do now that we never even used to notice. Not only did we probably do them when we were younger, when we were kids, but also, I mean, I think there was this whole window of time in our lives where we wouldn't have really been bothered by or noticed some of the annoying things that kids do. But that is one of the things I wanted to talk about with you today. So what are some of the things that you think our kids do that are annoying to us that you have done in your life and you never even would have noticed?
I hate when I have to get the kids out of bed. More so our son.
When you have to get him up, because like you have to wake him up at least
10 times.
I don't know if it's 10, but it's at least a strong 5.
Yeah. And that's even for the older kids too. And it seemed to be more the boys than the girls. But I was the same exact way. I can remember my parents telling me to get up, and I'd be like, oh, all right, I'll get up. And then an hour would go by.
An hour later.
They'd come back in. I thought it was only 2 seconds later. But that drives me crazy, and I don't know why. And it irritates me.
Yeah, you do seem to get annoyed by stuff like that really easily.
And I don't want to be annoyed by it, because I know that that's an old thought process. But man,
an old-fashioned thought process.
It drives me crazy.
Well, I started to think of the things that kids do that bother me. And I don't even know if I ever used to do them a lot, but I'm sure that I did to some extent. It's weird, like minor things, like leaving the lights on when you leave a room. Oh my gosh. Like when the kids are gone for school, I could walk around the house and there are like 15 different lights on. Like every single place that especially our son went, he leaves the light on when he leaves. I can't even fathom that. And then like leaving the door open doesn't happen often, but you know, in the summer when we have like the air conditioner pumping, or even in the winter when the heat's on.
What, are you trying to cool the outside?
I know, like I never was.
You're so old.
I know. I never was.
You know what the difference
super
is, though?
Bothered by that.
The difference is we didn't, and I don't think our kids even today have a concept of money.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say all the things that we think are kind of annoying, for the most part, kind of come back to having like a different, like understanding of how important it is, like the value of money, how important that is, and how hard it is to like earn the money that you have. Like another example that I was thinking of is like they go to friends' houses. This happened with both of our younger kids within the last couple of months. Like, you know, we bought new school sneakers for our daughter and she went to a birthday party and it was muddy out. And of course, they both wanted white sneakers. She came back and she had red clay mud all over her shoes. So I had to spend an hour like scrubbing her white sneakers with the toothbrush. We had to put bleach on them. You know, like I put them in the washing machine. They still weren't perfect. And of course, she's kind of a perfectionist. So it's just crazy to me that they would feel totally comfortable. And our son, the same thing, like his skateboard fell out from under his feet and went into like a drainage, what do you call those?
Storm sewer.
Yeah, like a storm sewer drain. And he got like down into the storm sewer drain and he like ruined his shirt. It got dirty. He ripped it. I'm like, how do they not value like the clothing that we spent a lot of money on and the shoes? It drives me insane.
But then conversely to that, we would be upset if they weren't outside and doing something and if they were just sitting on a computer all the time. So is it the fact that we're out of touch, or that once you become a certain age, you're just mad at everything?
I don't think that we're mad at everything, but it kind of like grates on my nerves when there's like a lack of appreciation for the amount of work that goes into being able to afford the stuff that we have. It's annoying. But you're right. I don't want my kids like sitting in front of a computer screen all day. Like I absolutely want them outside playing. So I try not to like be too hard on them. Like I don't yell at my kids for being outside and getting their clothes dirty. Of course not. But I just find it annoying.
Internally,
yeah,
you do.
Right. Inside, I'm like, oh, how could this happen? Why are you like so careless?
I yell. I do it more externally than you do. But anyway.
You do, but now that I'm thinking of it, you're just as guilty of wasting like high quality items. Like you have like a good pair of jeans.
First of all, this is not about me. It's about how we're out of touch with the kids.
Oh, okay. So I'm not going to talk about how you feel totally comfortable ruining a good pair of jeans because you want to do like a project, like redo the deck.
No, that's not what we're talking about.
In your good jeans.
That's not what we're talking about.
All right, fine. We're moving away from that topic. All right. Well, I mean, I think with that type of things, it's not so much that we're out of touch with the things our kids are doing as it is we really wish they valued $1 more than they do, right? I don't know.
Kind of, but we're out of touch with that mindset that the kids have. Like, we've transitioned. I don't know. It's just disheartening that we're transitioning from the youthful thought process and getting more into the middle-aged, weird thought process. But then again, I mean, you also think about it and you think about, you know, and maybe this isn't the right thing either, but I always complain about those parents that want to be more friends with their kids and don't hold their kids accountable for anything. And, you know, everything that their kids do is totally fine and acceptable, which doesn't show them any responsibility or doesn't allow them to view anything from another perspective or another point of view. And so I don't know.
Yeah, that bothers me too. I mean, I like our kids a lot. I mean, I think they're all interesting. They have unique personality traits that I think, you know, I there's different things about all of the kids that I really like and enjoy. But you're right. I don't want to be friends with my kids. And I pretty much made that clear to them. Like, I'm not your friend. I'm your parent. And when I tell you to do something, you need to do it. It's not like up for negotiation because you think we're buddies, because we're not. And it doesn't have anything to do with liking our kids. It just has to do with there's this, you know, differentiation. And you're right. Some parents don't seem to have that. They try so hard to be like their kids and like the same things that their kids like. And I don't know. It doesn't really sit well with me.
And let's be honest, there's a lot of parents out there that shouldn't be wearing Spanx or spandex to dress like
old
their
people
kids.
Should be wearing Spanx. It's like you don't even know what Spanx are. They're like body shape wear. Oh my god.
I'm out of touch.
Are you just saying No, I don't want to get into that. Yeah, you're out of touch. You don't even know what you're trying to say. Just stop. Maybe the point that you're trying to make is that kids and parents shouldn't be wearing the same types of clothing.
Yeah.
All right, let's leave it at that.
Or going to the same clubs.
All right, I agree with that. All right, then let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about social media. Because that's another thing that I feel like there's this sort of like time period where, well, there's different types of social media and there's different people using different types of social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like when we were, like Facebook was started in 2004. So we were both out of college.
Well, yeah.
Well, I only graduated in 2001 and I graduated a little early. So, but yeah, we were both out of college. You were more out of college than I
already
was.
had two kids.
You were a young adult with 2 kids, married to your first wife with 2 children at that time. And then Facebook came out. And I was a younger adult, but also married to my first husband and, like a young working adult. So we both were on Facebook in its early stages and for many years after, along with a bunch of other people our age. And then after Facebook, a whole bunch of other social media platforms came out. But I want you to think about the age of people who currently use Facebook. Like, I have the percentages based on age groups. I'll give you the age groups and you tell me what you think of the percentage of those who use it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So 13 to 17 years old.
That use Facebook?
Yeah.
1%.
It's a little higher. It's almost 3%, which is still surprising, but there could be various reasons that they use it. Like maybe their parents want them to be using that as a way of interacting with them. I have no idea. There's other statistics like 18 to 24-year-olds, 18% of that age group use Facebook. The highest percentage of people using Facebook are in the age range. This is a little surprising. These statistics are up to date. It says from 25 to 34, almost 26% of users are on Facebook are that age group.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it kind of decreases. 35 to 44, 18%, 45 to 54, almost 14%, 55 to 64, 11%, and 65 plus, almost 11% also. So there are some older folks using Facebook.
But is that of Americans?
Yeah.
That surprises me. I would have said the higher percentages would have been the individuals that we were between the ages of 35 to 50.
Well, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe this is overall statistics. On Facebook, there are 2.74 billion users. That is insane.
So, yeah, I would say that I don't know if that's right. I think you're spouting some bad numbers there.
All right.
Only because I would say the higher percentage of people that use Facebook are the people that are considered in the middle-age group versus the younger 25s.
I'm telling you, I looked these statistics up. I will fact check them, but...
All right. Well, I'm not really on Facebook anymore anyway.
No, I'm not either.
I get too frustrated.
Yeah, I don't know. It's taken a weird turn, and I used to like it because I could kind of like catch up with people I went to high school with. My mom was on it, so if I posted a cute picture of the kids, she could kind of see what they were up to. But yeah, it lost its allure for me. It's
gotten nasty.
Yeah, too much politics, too many people posting like it's like bragging, and I kind of like people start to fall into the trap of keeping up with the Joneses or whatever the saying is. The
best is when you know that people post all these happy family pictures, but you know what their family's really like.
Yeah.
It's silly.
It's silly. Like, families aren't perfect the way that they portray themselves on Facebook, although some people do post funny images of their families and stuff like that, but I don't know.
Here's the problem that I have with Facebook and all that kind of stuff, is it goes both ways. People post things on Facebook to almost brag about their vacations or where they've been, but the individuals that are looking at that don't appreciate what that person's doing. Instead, they want to tell that person, oh, well, we were there. Is this still... They want to use it to their own advantage versus just accepting it for somebody saying. Like, nobody ever says, oh, this is a great picture of your family. They say, oh, when we were there, we used to go to this restaurant. Is that still open?
Well, it's a combination. It's like kind of a one-up attitude, but there's also a lot of those, oh, that's beautiful, beautiful.
No, because they don't even type that. They just click that stupid thumbs up button or like button.
Well, it's a way that people interact with each other, for better or worse, and it is what it is. I mean, I'll check these statistics, but it looks to me like the overall big range of people that use it is from 18 to 44 is the highest percentage, like that larger group. I think it seems a little on the young side as well. But again, these are age ranges, so it could be like on the upper side of the 18 to 24 range that are using it more.
Well, here's why I'm going to tell you that I'm going to be out of touch. Because if there's other social media besides Facebook, I don't understand it.
Well, you might not understand it, but you know what they are. So what are the other big social media platforms?
Like Instagram. I guess Reddit is, but I always thought Reddit was more of a... I thought that was more something to do with like getting people to buy products and things like that. I didn't, I guess, realize that it was a social media thing. There's TikTok, which I absolutely don't understand other than people dancing all the time and doing some kind of weird dances and posting it. And the Chinese government is the one that runs that thing, supposedly. There's, what did I say, Instagram, Reddit, TikTok.
You missed a big one. Twitter.
Oh, yeah, Twitter.
And also, Snapchat's pretty huge as far as like a communication tool, even if it's not the same type of social media platform.
Is that the one that you take a picture or something that goes away after a certain amount of time?
Well, sort of. I mean, you kind of have it like filtered down to something that's out of touch.
But what's the purpose of them? I don't understand what the purpose of... What do you need all these things for?
It's just a way for people to interact with each other and communicate and express their opinions. And
what happened to going to a bar and doing that?
I don't know.
COVID?
No, all these things were popular before COVID. I mean, like talking about the social media platforms you brought up. So we said Facebook started in 2004. Reddit started in 2005. Twitter, 2006. Instagram came around in 2010, Snapchat 2012, and then your favorite TikTok started up in 2016. So that's really pretty new. You know, all within the 2000s, these social media platforms started popping up all over the place, and people like it for various reasons. Like they get attention because if they post something about themselves, they're either going to get positive or negative attention. And I mean, what it boils down to is I think people just want to be noticed. It's less dangerous than going out to a bar, not from like a staying, you know, I don't mean dangerous. I'm saying like from a social, like confidence point of view, it's pretty easy to say things on some kind of social media platform where you're not going to be,
don't say you won't be judged because people are ripped apart.
It's not that you're not judged. It's if you're not face to face with somebody.
It's easier to say things.
It's easier to say, especially nasty things.
Mm-hmm.
So people are
more... you don't always have to... You don't always have to let people know who you are.
Yeah, right. It has this level of anonymity that I think is appealing to a lot of people.
Well, here's the thing, and this is kind of where I feel, again, thinking about the out of touch thing. Is it just a matter of this is just another thing in the life cycle of humans? Meaning, did people think this about radio when it first started? And they're like, oh, radio is going to be the demise of the human civilization. And then TV came around and it was melting people's minds and it was giving people radiation poisoning. And, you know, is this just something that because we don't understand it or we don't use it that we automatically have negative connotations to it? Because there's negative connotations to everything. And is this just the next thing? And we're just old and we don't know why people want to sit and do this kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, I think you're right. There's been this evolution of ways that people communicate with each other, from radio to TV to social media platforms. But I don't think that you're wrong. Like, I don't think our perspective of it being pretty dangerous for society is wrong. Like, I think it is pretty dangerous for society, especially like when TV was the biggest thing out there. You know, there were limited numbers of TV stations, at least when TV first started. You know, like if you were going to watch the news, you pretty much had like your option was one or maybe a couple, like two news stations. So obviously you were seeing filtered information, but you still are now. Like you pick and choose what news stations you want to watch or listen to, and you're kind of hearing, unless you're like going out of the boundaries of your belief system, you're kind of hearing what you want to hear anyway. So that just sort of perpetuates the beliefs that you have. And that's not necessarily good or bad. It just is what it is. Like every type of information that we're receiving, and there's boatloads of it, is filtered, you know, for some perspective, some point of view, some belief system that somebody wants you to pick up.
But I don't know. I think that people just use these as communication tools too. Because think about it, even with this podcast, we did have somebody that listened to this podcast and they said, why are you using email? Email's an antiquated way to get a hold of individuals and talk to individuals. You should be using Instagram and Twitter and Reddit and YouTube to be able to communicate versus email, because email's antiquated. And that's where, again, I'm like, what? I thought email was the... not the future.
At google.com. No.
But,
and it's not that. I mean, the thing is, for you, email seems important because that's how you communicate with your coworkers and stuff. And I think that's an appropriate way to use email.
but it's how I communicate. Well, that's not true. I communicate via text with friends and family. But we still do it via email too. I don't communicate with my family through Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and...
No.
Huh?
No, but some people do. I mean, not exactly communicate with your family, but it's how they communicate with their social circle at large. Like, the kids have Snapchat stories and they have TikTok stories?
See?
What is it?
So old.
A TikTok. It's a story, right? It has to be something like that. Or a TikTok, whatever, account. And that's how they sort of like, that's how they show the world or their circle of friends who they are and what they're doing and what matters to them and stuff like that. So they do communicate with people that matter to them. It's not just all random information being sent out there, although in some cases it is.
I don't understand it. I want to understand it. It's almost to the point where I can remember where people used to come to me to ask me, it's like my parents used to come to me and ask me about like computer things and how does this work and how do you do this, and I used to be able to answer it. And now I'm finding myself having to go to our kids to say, what is this? How do you use this? And like, I like Apple, but I hate Apple because as soon as you plug something in, it like recognizes everything, and then I can't figure out how to disconnect it from... It drives me crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, technology keeps moving forward, and maybe we're not keeping up as well as we used to.
And you know, the funny thing is, as I say, I like Apple, and there'll be people out there that cringe when I say, oh, Apple's... That's not the... You need Samsung or... You know what I mean? Everything is so...
Based on personal opinions and beliefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people will be mad at me for saying I like Apple.
They're not going to be mad at you. What do they care?
Everybody gets mad about everything. Even
They're
me.
not mad at you personally. Maybe it's just a matter of, it's a difference of opinion. But you're right. Everyone takes everything so seriously. You can't say anything without having somebody judge you or think that their opinion is better than yours. There's no neutral zone anymore, it seems.
Mm-mm.
Well, all right. So we're pretty much out of touch with social media. I mean, honestly, you have an Instagram account, but it's just so you can keep up with bands that you like. Like, you're not using Instagram to communicate in any way.
I don't even know how to post on Instagram. I just get notifications saying like bands have posted something, so I look at it to see if they're touring somewhere in our local area.
We don't use Twitter. And I mean, I think there are certainly tons of people that do use Twitter. We just personally don't. And I don't care to use Twitter.
But what does the average person use Twitter for?
I don't know, to keep current with stuff that's going on. It's like instantaneous information.
It is. So I can see I can see why, you know, whatever politicians, I can see why artists, I can see why, you know, businesses use Twitter to keep people abreast of what's going on. But what does the average person post on Twitter? Because they're posting on Twitter too. Or do they not post? Do they just respond to other posts?
I think so. I think, and I don't know, I could be wrong on this, but I think
So why are we having this conversation? Because there's two idiots sitting in the room that don't understand what Twitter is, and then we're trying to describe what it is to each other.
So what is Twitter?
Right.
What is it?
Huh?
I don't know. Okay, can we just
Right. So quit acting like you do.
I don't. Did I say I did?
Well, no, you were trying to explain to me what the average person uses it for, and you don't know either.
Let me end this segment by saying how many people use each of the social media platforms, because it's mind-boggling. Like we already said, 2.74 billion people use Facebook.
All right, but
That's a lot.
But I get Facebook. In the general scope and concept, I understand Facebook because, especially nowadays, where the family isn't as, whatever they call that, nuclear or whatever as they used to be, where they all live in the same towns. So I get Facebook to say, hey, want to connect with people that I used to know in high school and college, family and friends that live across the globe. It's an easy way, instead of sending everybody separate things, it's an easy one-stop shop to say, hey, here's what's going on in our life. In theory.
Well, that's lazy. You should probably make the effort to call people
I get it. But I'm just talking about, in theory, I get Facebook.
Well, then I think you should get Instagram. I think it's kind of the same thing.
So what do you need two for? Like, what's the difference? Like, why is Instagram better?
I don't know that it is. And there are some differences with Instagram.
Because when I look at Instagram, it's just like quick snippets of things. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not as much. But anyway, all right.
Yeah, right. Like people aren't writing a book about what's going on with their family or what they ate for dinner or whatever.
Right. So I don't understand the concept of Instagram as much. Again, that's showing my age probably, and I'm out of touch, but I just don't get it.
Well, they have over 1 billion users. So a lot of people use Instagram for whatever you use Instagram for.
You don't even have Instagram.
No, I don't. I never claimed to have it. I'm not a big social media person.
All right.
To me, it just seems like a bunch of people
out of touch
bragging and a bunch of like political fighting. I don't know. I'm just not into it. Well, 400 million people use Twitter, which is quite a bit lower than Instagram and Facebook.
I would have thought Twitter was higher.
I know. I was kind of surprised about that. Snapchat has 100 million users.
But again, I can kind of see Twitter why it's not. Doesn't Twitter cap you off at a certain...
Mm-hmm.
So you can
can't
only
write a book on there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And can you put pictures on there even?
That's a good question.
Such a loser.
I mean, Reddit has 430 million users. And TikTok has 50 million.
Isn't Reddit the thing?
It's not used for selling stuff. I don't know why you think that.
What do you use? Oh, you use Pinterest.
I don't like use Pinterest. I just look at it as a reference for like...
Is Pinterest a social media thing? That's more for like business and stuff, right? Selling things?
No, no, not really. It's just where people like post what they think is fashionable or how to decorate a room
Reddit,
or how to plant your garden.
I don't have any idea what Reddit is. What is it?
You don't know either. People reflect on topics and issues that are in the news.
So what's it?
And it's just a comment. They comment and they have... It's
not like Facebook?
No. It's not like about your personal... I mean, they talk... In their comments, they talk about their personal feelings about what was stated, but it's not like... No, it's not like Facebook.
I guess maybe I should have gotten on some of these social media sites before we started talking about it.
You're embarrassing yourself, and I'm embarrassed for myself, too.
But I mean, it is called Out of Touch, so...
I know. I mean, it is. Like, this is just bringing to light the fact that we are out of touch with social media.
But I'm only 49 years old. Shouldn't I know more about this stuff? I'm not 80.
I know. We don't use it. We don't know about it. We have no idea about it. We are probably more out of touch than most people, I think, now that we've had this conversation.
Is it because we have jobs?
Almost everyone in our age group has jobs.
But we have jobs that we can't be checking social media all the time. Don't people check social media all the time while they're at work? And if they do, shouldn't they get another job?
Right. Like, I don't check social media when I'm working, but I don't use social media. Some people do, though. Remember, one of like the biggest New Year's resolutions for 2022 was to stop using social media so often. I think people are kind of like addicted to it in a way. They're like, they want to get on it.
Have you ever been to anything? Even when I go to like a wrestling thing for our kids,
people are on their social media sites.
Yeah, they're not even watching the meets or anything and matches. And I get it. Wrestling is boring if you're watching some other kid wrestle another kid that you don't know. Right, but it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Like, everywhere you go, people are on their phones, mostly probably looking at social media.
Their heads are down all the time.
They are. And I don't think you should be...
all right, we're not talking about... Just move on to the next.
Because you're very prone to being addicted to it as well.
I am.
You are.
But that's one reason I got off of Facebook.
Right. You decided to get off Facebook because you noticed that you were spending too much time on it. And I think that's commendable.
Well, it was a combination of things. It wasn't just that. It was also knowing that people I went to high school with that could barely pass Math 101 and General Science 101 now became medical experts on different things. So I couldn't stand that anymore.
Not technical medical experts. You're just saying
thought they were.
People are spouting out their opinions as if they're truth or facts, and that's dangerous. And it is annoying too.
They drink bleach.
There's a lot of stuff on social media that's no good. All right, let's switch over to another thing that we're out of touch with. We are also out of touch with current actors and actresses. Like you were saying, I think you mentioned earlier on, like, our kids talk about actors and actresses, and I'm like, who now?
Right. So pretty much where my knowledge of this stops is if you get younger than Seth Rogen.
Well, I looked at IMDb's website, and I just kind of like did a search to see who are the current actors and actresses right now. Mm-hmm. And we knew some of them. Like, top on the list was Meryl Streep, who is...
All right, that doesn't count.
It counts because she's still acting. She's had, like, a very long acting career. She's very successful. So, yeah, of course we know her. Denzel Washington, of course. These are, like, top actors who are still in the, like, the public eye right now.
Where did you get this from?
IMDb.
Over 50 magazine?
No, IMDb's website. Leonardo DiCaprio.
All right.
Frances McDormand.
Well, babe, you're not making a point here.
I'm telling you the people on the list that we knew.
Whoa. Is this attitude?
No, you're not listening. I said these are people on the list that we knew.
Oh, I thought you were going down the list of popularity, like from one down.
No, I'm just saying, I looked at the list and I was like, oh yeah, I know Meryl Streep and Denzel Washington.
Okay. Right.
I know Joaquin Phoenix. I know Amy Adams. I know Jake Gyllenhaal, Ryan Gosling. Like, these were people I was like, okay,
right.
I'm not too out of touch.
So far you haven't gotten to anybody younger than Seth Rogen.
This isn't in order. This isn't in order.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just telling you, I went through the list. I was like, yes, no, yes, yes. So then, like, in this same list, mixed in with these people that I recognized, and you can tell me if you know these actors and actresses, because I didn't. Viola Davis.
I think I've heard the name before, but I wouldn't know her if you put a picture of her up.
Oscar Isaac.
I've never heard of that.
Okay, no. Jessica Chastain.
I don't think so.
Riz Ahmed.
No.
Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, I know him.
Okay. Saoirse Ronan.
Who?
You would recognize her if you saw her. I saw her picture and I did recognize her, but I if you said her name, I would never know her.
Okay.
Mark Rylance.
No.
Sterling K. Brown.
No.
Ben Mendelsohn.
No.
Octavia Spencer.
Yeah.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Why? What was she in?
I just know. I don't think I've ever seen any. Well, that's not true. I probably might have. If you asked me what movie she was in, I wouldn't know.
You know what she looks like?
Maybe not. I know the name.
So you've heard her name.
Yeah.
Michael Shannon.
No.
All right. And then the list went on and on. There were some that we knew and a bunch that we didn't.
Oh my God.
So those were all, like, that group of people that I just mentioned to you were like top 20.
Okay. And that's
actors in.
So those people were in the top 20? Did I have even
all
heard
of them,
any
both
of them?
the ones that we know and the ones that we don't know, like Meryl Streep, Denzel Washington, Leonardo DiCaprio,
but
and
I'm saying the ones
Viola Davis, Oscar Isaac. They were all in the top 20.
Whoa! Don't hit the mic. Get all excited.
I know, you got me
around.
like waving my hands. Right, like we know about half of the top actors in today's movie industry. No, I know. We don't know. We're not keeping up with it.
Is it good or is it bad? Well, you know what? Here's some of the problem with this too, and it kind of goes into line with this, is because the media has changed from the top movies that you used to go to the movie theater for. There were only a certain number of movies that were released a year. So there were only a certain number of actors and actresses that became pretty famous. But now that's been watered down with, not as much theater
they
going
released
anymore.
To Netflix, Hulu,
right.
Amazon,
so there's so many more things now
mm-hmm.
that there's more opportunity for people to become more well known. Mm-hmm. And if you don't watch those shows, then you don't know it.
Mm-hmm. If you don't watch those programs.
Programs, that's right. Programs, we're not quite at that age where we can call them programs. But that goes into something else that I feel like I'm out of touch with too. I used to love going to the movie theater. Mm-hmm. I hate going to the movie theater anymore. Mm-hmm. I hate cell phones and people looking at cell phones, people talking. I hate to hear people crunching their popcorn behind my back ear.
It even bothers me at our own house when people talk when we're trying to watch a movie.
I know it does.
Like if we're watching a
movie... But I've hit that age now where I'm like, oh my God, everything bothers me so much. I hate going to the movie theater. Like even the thought of going to the movie theater makes me dislike the movie already.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to go in with a bad attitude because then somebody's phone will buzz or ring or I'll see the glow of it and that's all I'll be able to concentrate on the whole time. So in a way, I will say that the death of movie theaters to me is a positive thing.
Well, it's a shame, though. That used to be such a fun way. Like, when we were growing up, we went to the movies every weekend. We went to the movies, we went to the bowling alley, and then we went to Denny's because it was the only thing that was open.
I loved it. Well, we didn't go to Denny's. We went to the other one, Perkins.
Right. Whatever was open in your town late, that's what you went to. Every weekend we used to go.
We didn't even have Perkins in my neighborhood.
You had to go out of your neighborhood?
Thing called Pudgy's Pizza. Pudgy's. That would probably be canceled nowadays because Pudgy would be considered a negative, derogatory
body
term.
Shaming.
That's right.
Well, I mean, I think we've really made it clear here that we are totally unknowledgeable about pretty much every social media platform.
Right. Was the purpose of this podcast to make us feel worse than we felt?
I don't know. I feel like we made ourselves look bad. So we're out of touch with social media. We are about 50-50 on actors and actresses, but only because some of the actors that we recognize have had really long and, like they're just continuing to act. They're doing great in their careers.
But are we the only ones that feel this way?
I don't know.
Like, are we this... If I'm 49 and you're 43, are we the only ones in our age group that are this out of touch with things or feel this out of touch with things?
Who are embarrassingly lacking in knowledge about certain things?
Right.
Maybe. I don't know.
The best is going to be when our eldest son listens to this podcast and then we get a call.
And he makes fun of us for saying, oh, we don't know about InstaFace. What's Facegram?
He's going to eviscerate us.
Yeah, well, that's what happens.
Well,
he knows about stuff that we don't know about. All of our kids do.
Well, this was good. It was a pretty fun podcast.
Was it good? I feel embarrassed right now.
Well, besides the fact that I'm going to go down and...
You're going to cry?
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
that's that. We don't know about stuff.
Well, again, because we're in the dark ages, if anybody feels like reaching out to us, as it stands today, we still only have email, but maybe we'll look at getting Facegram and everything else. But if you do want to reach us, it's
lunacyofma@gmail.com.
lunacyofma@gmail.com.
That's an email. There you go.
All right.
There you have it, folks.
We'll have another episode up next week. Hope you enjoyed this one and take care of yourself.
Later.